Welcome back into the Rounding Third podcast. I'm Nick. We have Harrison on with us tonight. How are we doing, Harrison?
Good. How we doing?
Doing all right now, but well, we'll get into. We have a ton of stuff to cover. Off season is already off and rolling, so we will get into that first. Make sure you follow and like us on Facebook. You can follow on Instagram. You can subscribe on YouTube. You can also listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. All right, so we'll start with the World Series recap. I know we were on live a few times during the World Series. The only time we weren't on live, the Yankees actually won. So sorry about that, New York fans. The only time we weren't live was when they won. But
yeah, I'm not. Were we bad luck? Like, what happened there? I can't figure it out.
I can't either. But to recap this World Series, the Yankees got their asses handed to them.
Yeah. With that topic.
I mean it. I honestly was completely wrong with this outlook on how the World Series was going to turn out. I thought it was going to be a slugfest between two pretty decent offenses, and it was just a Dodgers shellacking in every aspect of the game. And then when the Yankees started to look good, they have a fifth inning like they had, and they just completely lose everything.
Well, I think the frustrating part was, I mean, lots of things are frustrating, but it was just really, really sloppy baseball from the Yankees. And we said it earlier this season, like, this is a team that plays a brand of baseball that we don't necessarily love. They don't play well in the playoffs because of it, because they're reliant upon 3-run home runs. They don't necessarily do the small things. But like, if any kid out there watched Game 5, it was a masterclass on what not to do.
Yeah.
That game was a disaster from from like the fifth inning on. And the Yankees, they couldn't make a play. They just butchered everything. Cole not covering first, like they did everything wrong. And I don't know what it was. I'm not sure if they were overwhelmed by the Dodgers, if they just had a really bad week of baseball. But that was a team that was, I would say, very, very disappointing to have them as the American League rep, because they just didn't look like they belonged.
No. And I mean, that Dodgers team is very, very good. I mean, let's not. And what's scary is they have 4 of their 5 starting pitchers on the IL. Like that's even scarier. And who knows what they're going to do this offseason, but we'll get to that eventually. But I mean, Freddie Freeman, absolute beast. I mean, Shohei was non-existent in this series, really was.
Yeah, his numbers were worse than Judge's.
Yeah, but you don't hear about it because he was on the winning team. If roles are reversed and the Yankees are up 3-0, going back, and Judge is struggling, you won't hear about it. You'll hear about Ohtani's struggles. So like if the coin was flipped, we'd be hearing about Ohtani's struggles versus Judge's. That's just not how it worked out. And then Judge just capped off his horrendous postseason performance in his career with that drop fly ball, which then led to Volpe's dirt ball to Chisholm, which then led to Gerrit Cole not covering first. Gerrit Cole covers first. They're out of that inning. They don't give up a run. And then the Dodgers score 5 runs with 2 outs to tie it and then end up winning 7-5. You just can't give good teams, any major league team really, extra outs. The White Sox would have capitalized on giving them 5 outs.
Yeah, probably not 5 runs, but they would have gotten a couple.
Yeah. You just can't do that. And you're supposed to be the best of the best. This series is you're the best of the best. And they just did not show up. They got beat in every aspect of that series. It wasn't even close.
No, it was not. And Juan Soto had a good series. Volpe ended up having a pretty good series. Outside of that, they got about nothing for everybody else. And it's frustrating because we went into that series thinking the Yankees had the slightly better lineup. They were more balanced. The Dodgers had some outs at the bottom, and the Dodgers did. The Dodgers did not exactly go in there and rake, but they got it done. They got done when it had to get done, and the Yankees just could not muster anything. They couldn't sustain rallies. They couldn't get guys on base. They couldn't move them around. Like, they just couldn't get anything going. And then in Game 5, when it looks like they're finally going to do it, and actually build some momentum here, they throw it all away with amateur mistakes. But I will say the Dodgers pitching that we consistently questioned every round, will it hold up? Will it hold up? Is this the round they get exposed? They consistently did enough to win. You know, Jack Flaherty did what he always does. Great in Game 1, awful in Game 4. Is good one start, bad the next. That's been his MO for as long as I can remember. Yamamoto, very effective. Buehler, very effective. The bullpen, although they had some spotty moments, generally effective. The Yankees had nobody in their bullpen they felt comfortable going to other than Weaver, and it was obvious.
Yeah, you can't go to Clay Holmes in any key situations there. We've seen what's happened there. That's the reason he's not the closer anymore. We saw the bullpen was so bad that they brought in Nestor Cortez at the end of Game 1 so Freeman could hit a walk-off grand slam off him. That's how little faith that Boone had in his bullpen in that series.
Yeah, and Gerrit Cole pitched great twice.
He did.
Rodon was okay, and really, there's nothing worth talking about after that. But
no.
Everybody talked about the easy path to the World Series. They had an easy path. They didn't have to face anybody that was all that difficult. I feel like that's not quite giving the Guardians enough respect. Right. But at the same time, I think the Dodgers proved, they had an easy path because they got to the World Series and got absolutely overwhelmed.
Yeah, and it goes to show, you think about when the Red Sox finally overtook the Yankees in 2004, then they got to the World Series and just steamrolled the Cardinals, right? The World Series was really that series before in New York.
Right.
That was the series. Any team after that was like, sorry, you're just going to get steamrolled here.
Right.
I kind of feel like that was like the Dodgers after the Padres series.
Yep.
Right. I mean, the Padres was, I've said it before, probably top to bottom, the deepest team in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Roster wise, on paper, all of those cliches. So after they had their backs against the wall and they knocked them off, it was like, all right, let's just take care of the Mets. And then they get to the Yankees. We thought it was going to be more of a series. It definitely wasn't. But then it was just kind of almost cakewalk for them. Freddie Freeman had some time to heal that ankle. Looks like it didn't affect him at all in the World Series as he homers in 6 straight World Series games going back to his days with the Braves. I just was not expecting this much of a one-sided affair. It was pretty tough baseball to watch. And I'm not a Yankees fan. And there's times where I'm like, man, I feel bad for this team right now.
Yeah. Yes. Same here. I mean, as Red Sox fans, born and raised Red Sox fans, no, I did not want to watch the Yankees win, but I thought that would be a better series. But as I said in Game 5, the Dodgers built this team to win multiple World Series. That is one of the best teams money can buy.
Yeah.
And they should have won. And they were favored from the very beginning of the season to win, and they did what they were supposed to do. So I think in many ways, it's kind of the outcome everybody expected. No big surprise, no major upset. They were supposed to win. That's what you're supposed to do with a roster like that. But the Yankees put up no fight. No. The Padres were the best series they had. The Mets was a good series, but again, not a great series. And then they walked through the Yankees. So, I mean, I think they proved what they knew and what everybody was kind of suspecting is that they were the better team. They were the best team in baseball. They should have been seen that way. The Yankees didn't show up. But I will go back to the Yankees. This is not the same organization from 25 years ago.
No.
This is they're not who they once were. The glory and pride of the Yankees is beginning to disappear. Yeah. And you got a lot of Yankees fans that when that series was over were questioning what are we now? What is the future of this franchise? You're going to roll the calendar over to 2025 And now there's one World Series in the last 24 years. That's not Yankees tradition,
No.
but it's becoming who they are.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all. I mean, it seemed like the World Series was just too big of a moment for the New York Yankees. If you watch we'll start at their plate discipline. Their plate discipline throughout the first couple rounds of the series was incredible. They weren't chasing, they weren't flailing. Like, they looked like a well-oiled machine at the plate. And then they got to the World Series and they were just swatting at flies the entire time, chasing bad pitches. Yes, they had that 11-run game. Whoop-de-doo.
They had one good night.
The rest of the series, yeah, the rest of the series, they looked horrendous at the plate. But yeah, I agree with you. This is not the 90s and early 2000 Yankees, or even the franchise before that, going way back to the 30s if you want to. Like, this isn't the same winning franchise, and I don't know what they need to do, but it does segue me into this next story that came out. Are the Yankees are most likely to use the club option for Boone? Is this the right move for the Yankees?
I mean, I don't know how you, as Brian Cashman or Hal Steinbrenner, look at your fans with a straight face and say, we believe that Aaron Boone is the right manager for this team after what you just saw. I just, the way he mishandled game one, which I still blame Boone for that whole finish.
I do too.
The way he took Torres out, put Cabrera in, who's not a natural second baseman. He has trouble with the ball. You bring in Cortez, like coaching malpractice in game one. But to then watch the team implode in game five, and then you see those guys in the dugout after that inning, deflated, done. That dugout was dead the rest of the night, and Aaron Boone didn't say a word. He just stood there leaning against his post, watching it all unfold. And then for the rest of the game, just let them play like it was over. I think you have to I don't think you can bring him back. I don't think you can bring him back and feel good about it. I don't think you can bring him back and sell that to your fans. And I don't think if I'm Aaron Boone, I feel like I can come back after that. I think he needs to go, and I think everybody would agree he needs to go. Will the Yankees bring him back? Maybe, because it's for some reason Cashman and Steinbrenner love him, but he's done nothing for you. He continues to come up short. He continues to make questionable calls. I do not know how you say, yes, he is the manager of the future.
Yeah, I don't understand it either. A good manager plugs all the holes in the leaky boat, right? Like, the boat's leaking. We can all see the boat's leaking. The manager plugs this hole, plugs another one, and keeps the morale of the squad up, right? That's what a good manager does. And you saw the look on his face. I mean, we said it when we were live, when he's walking out to the mound. First of all, it took him about a half hour to get from the dugout to the mound.
Oh, yeah, that was the slowest walk ever.
He just had this look on his face that was like, I don't want to be here right now.
What did Craig say? It looked like somebody kicked his dog or his dog died or something.
Yeah.
He looked sick to his stomach.
He did. And you can't, like, yeah, you're down in a hole. Like, I get it. You're getting your butts kicked in. But as a manager, you can't show that. You're like you said, the leader of this team. You cannot show any emotion. You have to be stoic the whole time. I'm not saying you have to be rah, like, let's go, guys, pat every guy on the butt as they come back in. But, like, you can't look like that. But you can't be like, well, the boat's going down. Let's just go down.
Yeah, but I think there are situations where even if you're not a rah guy, you need to be a rah guy. Like, when everybody walks in after the fifth inning and you've imploded on national television in front of all your fans at your home ballpark, you're protecting your home turf that way. You have to be walking up and down that dugout being a rah guy. You got to get the spirits back up. You got to get these guys feeling confident again, because what we saw the rest of the game was a team that was sleepwalking to the finish. They were dead. They were done after the fifth inning.
Yeah.
And the energy was gone. The belief was gone. The confidence was gone. And Boone did nothing to respond. And that's why I think that if you go back and watch game five, what you'll see is the fact that Boone was basically just standing there manning his post, doing absolutely nothing more than that as they went down.
Yeah, and I agree. I don't think you should be looking forward to Boone coming back next year if he
Hell
does. Like I don't, and we've said it for years that his in-game management is horrendous.
The
We've
worst.
been saying
Some
it
of the
for
worst
years.
I've seen.
And I thought a couple years ago they were going to let him go when the Yankees were like, "All right, we need a change. Let's fire all of the coaches." I mean, they fired everyone except the manager, and then you let the
Which was weird.
and then you let the manager pick all his coaches again, and you end up in the sure. You got to the World Series this time, cool, but you still didn't win it. You're the New York Yankees. You're supposed to win it. And maybe that's an unfair expectation to put on a single franchise. Maybe it is. But if you keep throwing 27 rings in my face, you need to back it up. And you haven't in the last 20 years. Sorry.
No, I had to laugh on one of the Facebook groups. Somebody was, ranting about after Game 4. Here come the Yankees. 27 rings. Well, you look at the person's Facebook profile; they're like 20 years old. So somebody responded back with, "What the hell would you know about the Yankees? You've only seen one ring in your life, pal.
Yeah,
and you may not see another one for a while."
Yeah. So, and 15 of those were before integration even happened. So let's not even get into that. But
let's. I mean, you asked the question a year or two ago, like, when do the World Series championships not matter anymore?
Yeah.
And what would the historical championships not matter anymore? And the Yankees are there for 24 years. You've won once. You're no better than the Rangers, the Nationals. That's where you're at. You're at the same level right now as the Washington Nationals. As a Yankee fan, that should piss you off. And you should be looking at Cashman to fix it, or Steinbrenner to fix it. Because the other problem in all this is Cashman keeps building you these flawed teams. Boone keeps managing them poorly. When are you going to change it? It's like we said about the Rockies. Until you decide to do something different, you're just going to keep getting the same results. You can't get up every day and do the same damn thing and expect different results. And the Yankees just won't change. And Hal Steinbrenner, God love him, is not his father. His father would have absolutely torn that place to the ground, 7 years ago. He would have torn it to the ground and started over.
Yeah.
It's not when it was George Steinbrenner and the Evil Empire and all that. That was a different time. This is not that time anymore. Dude, and the Yankees are now teetering on, are they still, the Titan that they were?
No. The answer to that's no, they're not. And they proved it right now. Absolutely crazy. But all right, let's move on to some more Yankees news. Gerrit Cole opts out of his opt-out. So Gerrit Cole opts out to hopefully get a better deal, and then ends up just opting back in is what this is, right? So he takes the remaining
Gerrit Cole. Gerrit Cole had 4 years and 144 left on his deal with the Yankees. He opted out on Saturday. The Yankees had until Sunday night to put more on his contract, and they had until today at 5:00 to finalize all those details. And so what basically happened is Cole today said, "Okay, never mind. I'm going to take my opt-out back. I'm going to stay with the 4 and 144 that was left. But the Yankees have agreed to talk about an extension with me. So we'll come back to that."
Yeah.
Now, what I believe that means is they're not going to commit money to me until we know if we can get Soto, because that'll determine how much is left.
Right.
I think that's Cole and the team keeping a little flexibility to go after Soto. But it is strange to see a player opt out and effectively undo his opt out and opt back in. But he has that right. He had that right for a couple of days.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it is kind of a smart play on Cole's. He probably opted out and then was like, oh, wait, we're trying to keep Soto. Maybe I should take this deal, and then we'll talk about money later, money in years later.
And I think in reality, $36 million a season for 4 more years. I don't know that he would do better than that on the market. If the Yankees tack a year or two on, I think he's going to be in the same spot he would have been. And he's a New York Yankee guy. I mean, he grew up rooting for this team. This is his team. He wants to be there, obviously. So I think for him, it's I'm not going to get more money somewhere else. Yeah. I really want to be here. We've got a good thing going. Let's leave some flexibility and keep going. Yeah. And what I'm astonished by is there's a lot of Yankees fans that want him gone. And I don't understand where that comes from because I don't love Gerrit Cole. I think he's kind of a dink. But name me 5 pitchers in the league better than him. It's going to be hard to do.
Yeah.
And he's a
No,
local boy who wants to be there. Like, I don't get the hate for Cole from Yankees fans.
no. If I need a win, I'm probably choosing Garrett Cole. Like he has nasty stuff. He's a workhorse. He'll go out there. He'll get you innings. I mean, he pitched a great game 5. He
He
really
ga-
did.
he gave up 2 earned runs in his 2 World Series starts combined. Like,
Yeah.
you didn't have anybody on your staff better than him. And he
No.
when you needed him in game 5, he was on until your defense wasn't.
Right.
And I know he didn't cover first, and I get all that. That was a bad misread on his part, a bad misread on Rizzo's part. Doesn't matter. But like, name me a pitcher you had that was better than him, and name me a pitcher you're gonna go out and bring in that's better than him. You
Right.
can't.
Yeah. That has the track record
Right.
track record that he does.
He was
can't.
nails in the World Series for you.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. So yeah, it's probably just to restructure to well, it's not really restructuring anything, but just to see who wins the Juan Soto sweepstakes, which we'll get to on Thursday when we come back for that for a free agent show. But all right, let's get to all the opt-ins for this year, and there is quite a few already that has opted in. So Lucas Giolito has opted in, obviously coming off Tommy John. So we will see him in the Red Sox this year. Would be kind of silly for him to opt out with, coming off the Tommy John injury.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Yeah. Rhys Hoskins for the Brewers has opted in. So he is a Brewer next year.
He seemed to fit in over there pretty well.
He did. And again, I don't know what his market would be in this free agent class.
Yeah, he would be a second tier guy, and
yeah,
interesting.
Yeah. Another one, Emilio Pagan for the Reds. He did not. He opted in. Robbie Ray for the Giants. Same situation there, coming off injury. Yep. He is opted in.
Yeah, where's he going to make more money than he's got still on that contract?
Right. And then Cody Bellinger opts in to the Cubs.
Yeah, again, makes sense. I mean, he did not have a great season last year, and where is he going to make more money? But it's like we said in the offseason, like the Cody Bellinger you saw in 2023, his advanced stats were like weird. That was not a season he was going to repeat.
Yeah.
It just wasn't going to happen.
No. Same thing with Jordan Montgomery. Now,
this one's funny.
Yeah, the owner was like, this is the biggest mistake we made in the offseason. And Montgomery's like, well, I'm opting into my contract. So Montgomery had a weird season coming into spring training late with a whole Scott Boras debacle in the offseason. He fires Boras. Does not have a great year for the Diamondbacks. Does not look like the Jordan Montgomery that we're used to seeing. Me following the Diamondbacks very closely during the last 2 seasons, I was excited to get Montgomery there, but he did not live up to expectations whatsoever there.
No, he was supposed to be a difference maker for them, and he was so bad they took him out of the rotation. Like, was it a 6+ ERA? I mean, he was horrible.
Yeah.
And a Boras guy who signed really late, who clearly wasn't ready and really never got into any sort of groove, who also fired Boras and we thought he's going to go back on the market and start over. It looks like he's just going to roll the dice, stay in Arizona, get the guaranteed payday, and figure it out later. But he had a bad offseason. He had a bad season. I hope for him that, having a team and being there from the beginning of spring training, you get different results next year. Yeah. But to have the owner literally tell a reporter, and I just put a link in the chat to one of the many articles written about this, to have the owner call to say signing you was our biggest mistake of the offseason, and then you opt to come back in and play for that same organization again, is A, funny, and B, he must have swallowed a lot of his pride to say, I'll come back after being called a mistake.
I think it's also kind of his mentality, like, I'll prove you wrong. Like, give me a proper spring
Sure.
training, get me ready for the season, and I'll shove it down your throat and show you what I got. Like,
Yeah. And then I'll leave and go get paid somewhere else, and
right.
you'll be just a memory.
Yeah. Hunter Renfro will actually be on the same team for 2 years in a row. Isn't that crazy?
Well, there's still time. They can trade him.
I mean, facts. But Hunter Renfro, the option was exercised to stay as a Royal.
Which I think it's a good spot for him. He fits in well with that team. He had some good depth and a good bat.
Yeah.
It's a good move for him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to your point, it'd be nice to see that guy for once actually spend more than 6 months in one city.
Yeah. All right, let's switch over to opt-outs here. So, as I said, Cole opted out of his opt-out, so that's kind of a weird one.
So is he on both lists? Did he both opt out and opt in?
I think so. Sean Manaea opted out of his deal with the Mets. He had 1 year left, so $28 million deal, so $14 million. He leaves on the table. Does he get paid by another team?
I think Manaea will get paid by another team. I don't think it'll be $28 million a season, but I think he'll get paid by somebody else. And I think he'll pick up some years.
I think he made $14 million because it's
it's 28 left.
deal.
Okay, yeah, see, he's not going to make that kind of money.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's a guy who's going to go out there and pick up a 3 or 4 year deal from somebody. He was really good this year.
Yeah,
he was really good this year,
and he was pretty solid in the postseason too. So I mean,
he was their ace in the postseason.
Yeah.
They had all kinds of struggles from their starters, and except for him.
Yeah.
But I think he's one of those guys who's bounced around a little bit. He's been good everywhere. He just hasn't been great, and he finally had one of those seasons where it looks like he's figured something out. Although his release, his whole windup and release drives me crazy to watch. But
he dropped his arm angle, so now he's similar to Chris Sale, and he actually had quite a bit of success with it. So
yeah, I remember watching the Dodgers had the pitching machine tipped to try to simulate it, and they still couldn't hit him.
Yeah.
I think he's going to get paid. He's going to pick up a multi-year deal somewhere. He's going to get some money.
Yeah.
And he'll be a good 2 or 3 for somebody.
Yeah. And then a big one, Blake Snell opts out.
Totally expected that.
Yeah, I mean, we all kind of did. Like his time with the Giants. I mean, he finally throws a no-hitter, but
yeah. I mean, when he bailed on his last start of the season and basically said, like, we're not in contention, they're not in contention, it's not worth me pitching, kind of said everything you needed to know about what he was doing next.
Yep. So, yeah, so Blake Snell opts out. Where do you think he's going to go? And do you think he gets top of the line starter money?
I think he got off to a rough start because he started late, and I think then he turned the corner and proved that he is still an ace. So I think look at a guy like Manaea, who's probably a 2 or a 3 somewhere. Snell's going to get paid like an ace. He's going to be in your $30 million a season range. Where he goes, it's a little early to guess, but my gut says he stays on the West Coast. Where he lands, I don't know. I could see the Yankees making a run at him. I could see the Mets making a run at him. I mean, the Braves may make a run at him. But I don't know. I don't know if the Braves are willing to spend that kind of money this offseason, given all the stuff they've committed. But my gut says he stays on the West Coast somewhere.
Yeah, it's fair. And Nick,
maybe the Dodgers will just sign him and Soto and call it a day.
I mean, ridiculous. So then they would have 15 starting pitchers. And
they'll have like 10 of them hurt, so they'll have a good starting 5.
Facts. Nick Martinez for the Reds has opted out. So he's like a flex guy. He makes spot starts, relief pitching.
He's like like a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
Not a bad. He's a good guy to have.
Yeah, but he's got 1 year left on his 2 year, $26 million deal. So about the same pay grade as Manaea.
Yep.
But yeah,
feels about right.
All right. Team options. We have a couple here. Where was it? Austin Barnes for the Dodgers has exercised his option, or the team has. Aaron Bummer was exercised for the Braves and signed a 2-year deal through 2026.
Yeah, it's a good move. It's a
Yeah.
valuable guy.
To stay with the Braves, though, they declined Travis d'Arnaud.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I saw that. I can't imagine d'Arnaud. I can't imagine d'Arnaud wanting to remain a backup. I can't imagine the Braves really wanted to keep him as a backup. I believe the Braves have a young catcher in the system, if I
yes.
remember correctly.
I think we saw him a couple times late in the season.
Yeah, so I think they're making room for him, and it's kind of like, Travis, thanks for everything. Like, let you go find a permanent home, because you're never going to be the guy here.
But he's 35.
He is.
Like, who's looking for a 35-year-old backstop? I mean, some team will pick him up because he has a lot of pop.
Well, and he's a guy that I think could have some position flexibility. He could catch. He probably could play first base a little bit. Could DH. Like, his bat is probably worth hanging on to for a couple of years. But he's late on the back nine of his career. This is probably his last shot to get a deal and get some playing time.
Yeah.
I think the Braves see the fact that he's not who they need. They've got some young players coming up, and it's more of like a gift to him to let him go find a home.
Yeah.
Well, he still has time. But
Right.
man, you won't find a better backup catcher than Travis d'Arnaud.
No. I mean, when I saw the Braves play a couple of years ago, he had that 2 home run game, and one of them he hit 480 feet. I was like, dude, what?
Yeah, that bat is still lethal.
Yeah, absolutely. Orioles exercised Sir Anthony Dominguez, so he'll come back in their bullpen. That's probably mostly to cover them for Felix Bautista still, who we don't know when he's going to come back from his Tommy John.
Yeah, he's expected back for spring training, but we know how that goes with Tommy John. It's not always necessarily on schedule.
Yeah.
And just because you're back doesn't mean you're ready to pitch full speed either.
Right. Kyle Gibson for the Cardinals, his option was declined, so he won't be back. And what was the other big? Merrill Kelly, obviously the D-backs are keeping him.
Yeah.
Eloy Jimenez for the Orioles, they're going to let him go. So option decline for Eloy Jimenez.
He didn't really work out once he got there. The Orioles did not have a great trade deadline.
No.
They did. The moves they made really did not work out. They dumped a lot of prospects for, was it Weathers, who didn't do much for him. You had Jimenez, did very little. Didn't have a good good trade deadline.
They got Eflin, which,
they did.
But that's really
it. You traded a ton of prospects that basically netted Eflin for a year, who's now a free agent. No, yeah. He's got another year.
Yes, one more year.
One more year.
The Rays exercised for Brandon Lowe, however you want to say it.
Lowe, that guy.
Yeah. Cardinals are declining Lance Lynn. Kind of figured that would happen. Yeah.
He wasn't terrible for them, but he was just filling a hole.
Yeah. Yohan Moncada for the White Sox, they said no thank you, so they declined his option. Kind of.
He might go down as one of their biggest busts.
Yeah.
Especially after you traded all that. You got all that back for sale and then got really nothing out of the package.
Yeah. Right, because Kopech's gone. So,
and he wasn't even good until last year.
No. And I think this is the steal of the offseason so far. Like, obviously the Braves are going to give Marcell Ozuna his option. It's a $16 million club option. That's an absolute steal for Marcell Ozuna.
Yeah, that's half of his market value.
Yeah, absolute steal. Freddie Peralta, the Brewers exercised their option, so he's back in that rotation. And then the other big one for us, just because we're Red Sox fans, is Rob Refsnyder. So the team's bringing back Refsnyder. How do you feel about that one?
I mean, another guy who's got some positional flexibility. He does a little bit of everything. Is he an elite player? No, he's a good piece. Like, he's a good depth piece. But I think the problem with the Red Sox is that, Refsnyder would be like a great fourth outfielder, but they were playing him way too much, just given the lack of depth they had on the roster.
Right.
So I think he's a good guy to keep around. He offers you a lot, but does he change the direction of that team? No.
short of bringing Juan Soto in and a couple pitchers, you're not going to either. So
Yeah, I mean, you give me Corbin Burns and Juan Soto, I feel a lot different about the season.
yeah, even you give me Max Fried, I'm feeling different about it.
I mean, yeah, any of those.
Yeah. The Yankees said no thank you to Anthony Rizzo. I think, with Ben Rice there, and they got some options at first, and Rizzo coming back from that injury, he's not the same player he was.
No, and he's been really unreliable for them. And Anthony Rizzo, love the guy. Love Anthony Rizzo. Love everything he does. But he hasn't played more than 100 games the last 2 years in New York. He's constantly battling injuries. His performance has declined. He's only 34, so he's not where you'd normally expect the big decline, but you're seeing it already.
Yeah.
But another guy like a Joey Votto, who everybody loves, everybody respects him. I'm sure he'll land somewhere for a couple years on a cheaper deal, but the Yankees can't keep hoping that he's going to deliver, because he's just not going to deliver.
Right. My D-backs are bringing back Suarez at third base, so that's a $15 million option that the D-backs will pay him, which I don't mind. I mean, there's not a ton of third basemen out there short of Alex Bregman. I was kind of hoping maybe the Diamondbacks would lean towards Bregman there. I think he could fit into that lineup nicely.
Yeah. But when you look at the second half that Suarez had, there were few in baseball that had a better second half than that guy. When he finally clicked, he was a nightmare down the stretch.
Yeah, he really was. Diamondbacks are about to have themselves a weird offseason, I think, with Christian Walker being a free agent. Jock Peterson didn't. He opted out. So it's gonna be interesting to see what they do to kind of fill those holes, or if they choose to bring Walker back. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, how old is Walker? Is he 35?
He's 34, 35. He's getting up there too.
So, I mean, he's a guy who's looking for probably a 2 or 3 year deal somewhere.
Yeah.
To play first base / DH.
And the Brewers declined Devin Williams' option.
I saw that. I was a little surprised.
That must have just happened, because they were talking about trading him possibly.
Right.
And they just flat out declined his option. So
the issue with Williams is that they declined the option, but he's still under control through arbitration.
Gotcha.
So they declined the option thinking that they'll be able to get less awarded in arbitration, but they're still open to trading him.
Gotcha. So he comes back in 2025, right?
Yes.
But under his salary.
Yeah, so he's got 1 more year of arbitration. So they're gambling that they're going to get a decision of less than $10.5 million to keep him.
So how does he have a player option if he's still under arbitration? How does that work? It was
a club option. It was not a player option.
Right, but if you're still under control, why would he still have an option there?
Because when they signed him last year, he was arbitration eligible last year. They came to agreement with him before the arbitration decision was rendered, and they added an option.
Gotcha.
So basically, the Brewers played the fence.
Gotcha.
Hey, we'll give you a $10.5 million option. You go out and have a banger year. We may exercise that option and cap our cost. You don't have a banger year because he missed time. Yeah. We'll let the option go and just take the arbitration settlement, which will be less. So I think the Brewers actually played that kind of smart, setting it up where they were able to cap their cost on him, but leave the flexibility to go get a better deal if they could.
That makes sense. Gotcha.
Yeah, so when you break it down, at first I'm like, they declined the option. Holy cow. Then I was like, oh, he's still arbitration eligible, so it doesn't matter. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah, it's weird.
But yeah, they set it up in a way where they could kind of have their cake and eat it too, and it was well played.
Yeah. All right. We'll move on to signings. Michael Wacha back to KC for 3 years and $51 million. I think this is a great deal for both sides. I think it's great for the Royals to get some more veteran, or to keep some veteran pitching, and with Ragans and Lugo. And Wacha's a good pitcher. When he is on, Wacha is good. So I think
the only knock on Wacha is durability, but he hasn't made less than 23 starts since 2020. So he may not be out there for 30 starts a year, but he's not out there for like 15.
Well, 2020 doesn't count either.
No, agreed. That's what I'm saying. The
Yeah.
last 4 years, he's been 23 is his lowest.
Yeah.
So he's the guy that's out there at least 3/4 of the time, and he's still really effective. I mean, 13-8 with a 3.35 and 29 games started. Is he the same guy from a few years ago? No, the injuries have taken their toll on him, but he's only 32. He's consistently good, and he's a great 2 or 3 in any rotation.
Yeah.
I think it's a great deal for the Royals. And as soon as they signed, I sent you guys a message just going, I love the fact that the Royals are actually going to spend some money, lock up some players, and keep this thing going.
Yeah. And they might be a sleeper in this free agent market. I mean, they have Bobby Witt. They have people that might want to come play with this kid. And the Royals are close. They're a couple key pieces away from really doing some damage. So we'll see. That's another team that I'm watching their offseason pretty closely. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think they could do some things just like last year. They signed guys like Waka and Lugo, and you're like, oh, all right, cool. Renfroe. You're like, okay, cool. Like some decent moves, building some depth, and that team really gelled and came together.
Yeah.
Also helps that Bobby Witt is a freak. But,
right.
And you had some young guys come up, and you got good production. So I think that they may do more of the same this year. Add another couple pieces that you're like, oh, those are good ads, and then you find out that's a pretty solid roster come opening day.
Yeah. Juan Soto, Alex Bregman, and Blake Snell to KC, calling it.
Oh my goodness. You'd have to sell the franchise to raise the money.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
Hey, Juan Soto, we're going to defer that until 2100. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Your grandkids are going to be picking up that money.
Yeah, their grandkids are going to be.
Yeah, talking about generational wealth.
Yeah. All right, and we had our first trade of the offseason. So the Braves trade Jorge Soler to the Angels for Griffin Canning. So pitching for power. I mean, it's not a huge trade, but I mean, Soler's a power monster when he's on the field, and another pitching depth for the Braves here. So,
and I think he'll like that left center power alley in Anaheim.
Yeah,
and a guy like that sitting behind a healthy Mike Trout, not a bad spot to be.
If Mike Trout is back, man,
that's why I say a healthy Mike Trout. Right there is the crux of it, because will you see him, and how long will you see him for?
Yeah, no clue. All right, Gold Glove winners.
Before we jump there,
okay,
Nick,
go ahead.
Qualifying offers.
Okay, go ahead.
So if you don't understand the qualifying offer, teams can offer a guy who's going to free agency a qualifying offer. It's a 1-year, $21 million deal. The player can accept it, in which case they sign, they move on. The player can decline it. If they decline it, whoever signs them owes the original team a draft pick. So there were some players that didn't receive them. The players getting qualifying offers were Willy Adames, Pete Alonso, Bregman, Corbin Burns, Max Fried, Teoscar, Sean Manaea, Nick Martinez, Nick Pivetta, Anthony Santander, Luis Severino, Juan Soto, Christian Walker. Players that did not get them, which is more interesting, Paul Goldschmidt, Walker Buehler, Shane Bieber, Jurickson Profar, Haesung Kim, Tyler O'Neill, and Gleyber Torres. So I find the list of not getting them more interesting, because Walker Buehler didn't get one, O'Neill didn't get one, Torres didn't get one, Haesung Kim didn't get one, Profar didn't get one.
Well, that's because they're saying that their value is not $21 million a year on the market.
So that's what teams are saying. We don't think you're worth $21 million, so we're not even going to attempt. We're not going to give you that contract out of fear you'll take it. But I would look at some of those guys and go, you're telling me you don't think Profar's last couple seasons will get him 21 mil? You don't think Haesung Kim is worth maybe close to 21 mil for somebody? So you're allowing them to go to free agency with nothing attached.
Yeah, Walker Buehler, that's that one.
Yeah. I found some of those puzzling.
I mean, maybe they're looking at Buehler's injury history and just not, thinking that he's gonna get the 21 million a year.
Yeah, and I think I feel like the market for Buehler is going to be LA. I feel like the Dodgers are going to want him back. He's a homegrown boy. But I don't know. They're kind of saying, hey, go test the market, kid.
Yeah. I mean, cool. I don't know. That's
But
another starting pitcher I wouldn't mind in my rotation if he can stay healthy.
No, and then like Hae-Sung Kim, a free
Yeah.
agent with no draft pick attached.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Yeah. Red Sox need a second baseman.
They
Weird,
sure
huh?
do, and he'd look really good in a Red Sox uniform.
That is for certain. I would love that guy here.
Yeah, for sure.
Sean.
Way underrated and underappreciated.
Yeah. All right. Let's hop to the Gold Glove Award winners. Those were announced yesterday.
Yesterday. Yep.
Yesterday. All right. American League, your catcher, Cal Raleigh. Your first baseman, Carlos Santana. Second baseman, Andres Jimenez. Shortstop, Bobby Witt Jr. Alex Bregman picks up his first Gold Glove at third. Stephen Kwan, no surprise there. Dalton Varsho in center field, no surprise there. Wilyer Abreu from your Boston Red Sox, the rookie, brings home the Gold Glove. Pitcher Seth Lugo brings home Gold Glove for the Royals, and then utility is Dylan Moore. Any shockers or snubs that you think of when you see that list?
No, I mean I feel like the guys that I expected to win all won. I did find interesting this is what Stephen Kwan's third Gold Glove in 3 years.
Yeah.
I
He's ridiculous out there.
I think Cal Raleigh's a deserving catcher. That's one position that was kind of a question mark for who might get that. Otherwise, I feel like there's no big surprise there. Anybody in your mind that got snubbed?
Nobody that got snubbed, but there's not a single Yankee on that list.
Well, Game 5 tells you everything you need to know about their defense.
Well, right, and the two that I would put on there if I didn't would be Judge and Volpe. But a lot of people are like, "Who is Dalton Varsho?" Listen, if you have not seen this guy defensively, he is a monster. His defensive metrics are off the charts.
Uh-huh.
It is crazy what this guy gets to and makes it look easy. I've seen him in Arizona. He won Gold Glove for right field and utility that year. He won 2 in the same year. I mean, it was silly.
Yeah, he's a wizard with the glove, and he can play all over the field.
Yeah, he can even catch, which is nuts. So,
yep,
he's deserving for sure.
100%. But no argument here.
I mean, other than that, I mean, no. I mean, Wilyer Abreu's defensive year in Boston in a tough right field, he makes it look pretty easy out there. So I think he's well deserved for that one.
I think one that kind of surprised me was Santana at first.
Yeah.
He and Ryan Mountcastle are like the exact same defensive player. But I think that Mountcastle gets a little more, I would say, visibility because Baltimore was at the top of the standings and Minnesota's Minnesota. And they also don't get a lot of coverage. But I don't disagree with the pick. They were basically mirror images of each other.
Yeah. All right, we switch over to the National League. Your catcher is Patrick Bailey from the Giants. First base, Christian Walker from the Diamondbacks. Bryce Terang at second for the Brewers. Ezekiel Tovar from the Rockies at short. Hey, the Rockies won something. Third baseman Matt Chapman for the Giants. Ian Happ for your Cubs is your left fielder. Brenton Doyle for the Rockies in center. They won another one. Wow. Right field, Sal Frelick for the Brewers. Chris Sale brings home the Triple Crown and the Gold Glove for the Braves.
Why not?
And utility, Jared Triolo from the Pirates. Any snubs there?
The only one I can kind of look at and go, was shortstop, Tovar versus Lindor. You could argue the case for Lindor being the better defender. I mean, it's hard. It depends on which stat you want to anchor to, but Tovar is excellent. Lindor is excellent. Depending on which stat you look at, depends on who's first and who's second. That's the only one I think you could argue that there might have been somebody slightly more deserving. Otherwise, I mean, Christian Walker was the top-rated first baseman. Terang, top-rated second baseman. Like these were all pretty cut and dry in my eye.
Yeah.
Lindor is the only question mark I have because I think you could argue that he was the better defensive shortstop.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If you have not seen Ezekiel Tovar play, period, you need to try. He's a stud. And really the only hope that the Rockies have to build around at this moment. Yes, Ryan McMahon's a nice piece out there, but other than that, the Rockies don't have much to cheer about. But this kid is really stinking good. Every time I tune into a Rockies game, if they're playing the D-backs, like he's got 2 hits and he makes a crazy play in the hole or on a slow roller. Like the kid's legit. Like he's a great player. So
Tovar is a superstar. You'll be saying his name for a lot of years.
Yeah.
And Doyle's a great center fielder, and center field in Colorado is big.
Massive.
There's a lot of room to cover, and he is exceptional out there. So
yeah,
it's ironic to think a team as bad as the Rockies have 2 Gold Glove winners. Maybe that's a factor of their pitching staff having so many balls hit that these guys had to go play. I don't know, but
also facts.
Yeah, who knows? But interesting.
Yeah. So Matt Chapman too just continues ever since he's been up here, just winning Gold Gloves like crazy. I mean,
that's now 2 years in a row without a Nolan Arenado sighting.
Yeah. But I mean, Matt Chapman won all those in the AL for years. I think he's even got a couple platinum gloves in there too. But
yep. When he moved to the National League, it was pretty clear that they were going to be 1A and 1B. But this is 2 years in a row with nothing for Arenado after 10 straight, 9 straight,
10 straight.
Yeah. So
nuts.
Strange.
Crazy.
But Chapman you won't find a lot of third basemen better than him defensively. He makes all the plays.
No. All right, Harrison. Award predictions.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Let's have them. Really, MVP and Cy Young, we don't really need to predict those because, I mean, it's Shohei and Judge, and then it's Sale and Skubal, right? I mean, there's really no...
I feel like the big ones are kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Skubal, if you argue against those, I think you've lost your mind.
Yeah.
All right, so you want to start Rookie of the Year?
Yeah, let's just, MVP and Cy Young are moot points because we know who's winning those.
All right, I'm going to stick with the same Rookie of the Year I had mid-season. That's Colton Cowser in the AL. I think Cowser is a beast. He did tail off a little bit at the end, but he was so good for the Orioles for so long.
Yeah, agree. I'm with you there. I think it's Colton Cowser in the AL.
In the NL is hard for me. I go back and forth. I mean, really, you've got Skeens, Merrill, and Imanaga, and arguably Churio, who are really all in the conversation. I just have a really tough time not giving it to Jackson Merrill, considering how good he was for the entire season.
Right.
And then what you saw in the playoffs, too.
Yeah.
I have a tough time not giving it to Merrill.
Yeah. My preseason pick was Jackson Churio. But just to be different, I'll go with Paul Skeens. I think it does go to Merrill for all the reasons you said. The kid was a beast. How many game tying or go ahead home runs did he have in the 9th inning?
Oh my goodness.
A ton.
So many big hits.
The impact he had on that Padres team for the entire season was unreal. I think Merrill should win it. But, Skeens came up and just absolutely dominated every outing he was in. So, yeah. It's tough. And he does qualify for it. So, I'm going to take Paul Skeens, but I think it will be Merrill, if that makes sense.
I think it comes down to the two of them. It's going to be between the two of them.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that.
For sure. So, Imanaga was great. He'll get consideration, but not enough.
Yeah.
Sam Churio, he'll get consideration, but not enough. Those two are just that much better.
Absolutely. All right. Manager of the year pick.
I think in the NL, it's a no-brainer. It's Pat Murphy of the Brewers.
Agree.
That team was basically, Counsell left and all their mojo was gone and they were left for dead. And they ended up having a really good season when Counsell did not. So I have to go with Pat Murphy. I could make an argument for Schilt in San Diego. Because that was a hot mess last year that he kind of resurrected, but it's Pat Murphy for me.
Mm-hmm.
The American League, I'm stuck. It's either Stephen Vogt or it's Quatraro from the Royals. I don't know where to go with that. I feel like I have to give it to Stephen Vogt because that was a team coming into the season that not a lot was expected, and then they paced the American League for most of the year. So
Yeah.
I'll give it to Vogt, but Quatraro was my choice from the beginning.
So I might get a lot of backlash for this, but I'm not taking either one of those guys. I'm taking AJ Hinch.
All right, fair enough.
I mean, what he did with that young Tiger squad, and I know all the controversy behind AJ Hinch. Like, I get that. I really do. But I don't know if there's another manager in the game that does what he did with that team down the stretch from mid-August. Yeah, sure. Manager of the year for a month and a half. Yeah, give it to the dude, because their oldest guy was 28 on that team.
Oh, I know.
And the way he plugged everybody in the correct spots to get them to win down the stretch and even in the playoffs there for a while. I mean, it's just, it was unreal what he was able to do with that team. So I'm going to take AJ Hinch there, but I'm not taking away from what Quatraro or Vogt did for their teams this year. I mean, both great seasons out of those teams, but I think it's for what AJ Hinch did for a month and a half. I know it's a full season award, but man, oh man, that was impressive.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's fair. I mean, he was great down the stretch for a team that, they traded away Flaherty thinking they were done. They were basically folding up the tent, and he just didn't let him quit.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. I mean, completely in tune with every single one of his players. To pinch hit like his whole entire lineup at this, we're like Kerry Carpenter hits a 3-run bomb off Class A in the bottom of the ninth, and the dude doesn't start the next day.
I know,
right? And then he comes up in a big pinch hit situation later in the game and pulls through again, and it's like, what the heck? Like, what manager in baseball would do that? No.
As much as I don't like Hinch because of the Astro situation, it's hard to argue with what he did.
Yeah, absolutely nuts. So, all right. Are you ready for some trivia, Harrison?
Are we going to do comeback player of the year? Or are you going to skip that one?
Oh, we can do comeback player of the year.
I mean,
I didn't really have anybody picked out, but
I think it's only two guys. It's Chris Sale in the National League, and it's Gerrit Crochet in the American League.
Yeah.
Both guys had crazy good seasons coming off injuries. I don't think there's anybody else that even necessarily qualifies.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely Chris Sale for sure.
Yeah, Chris Sale's an absolute no-brainer. That guy's going to win every piece of hardware there is. Gold Glove, Triple Crown, Cy Young, Comeback Player of the Year. Like, what else can we give him?
Silver Slugger for pitchers, even though they don't hit anymore.
Rolai's Relief Man of the Year. Like, let's just give it all to him because he helped the bullpen.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, those are two great ones. I don't really have anybody else.
I'm not sure. There's nobody else I can even think of that would qualify.
No. So, all right. All right. Now are we ready for some trivia?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, you're by yourself. If you're in the chat, please help. So here we go.
What's our topic this week? Is it just anything?
It's sort of all over the place.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
As of November of 2024, who are the 5 current MLB players with the highest annual salaries?
Okay, so it's got to be Trouty.
No.
Is he not in the top 5 anymore?
No.
Oh, okay. Aaron Judge.
Judge is number 4.
All right, Judge. Is Verlander and Scherzer still in there? Are they still sitting at 43?
They're 2 and 3.
Okay. Who's making more than them? Is Shohei one?
Shohei's number 1, obviously.
Does he count as like 45 or 46 million?
He counts as the full 70.
Oh, okay. All right, gotcha. So you're not doing like deferred money. You're just okay.
No. Mm-hmm.
All right. Sorry. So it's Shohei, Verlander, Scherzer, Judge, Cole?
Nope. He just came back from injury at the end of the season.
Oh, I was going to say Tatis or Machado, but
for the Rangers.
Who am I? Oh, DeGrom.
Yeah, DeGrom. So there's your money totals: 70 million, 43, 43, 40, and 40.
Now, Shohei only counts like 40 something million against the luxury tax, right? Is that the
against
number?
the cap. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, because it's deferred.
The
But
deferred money game.
yeah, but if you were gonna put him in the 10 years he plays, then obviously it's the 70 million.
Because if you took him out, you put Trout would be the next guy in, right?
Yes, I believe
Okay.
so. All right. As of November 2024, who are the 8 MLB players that have signed the longest contracts in terms of years?
Oh god, I feel like they were all signed the last few years too.
So there's 8 because there's a few of them that are tied.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna go with Bobby Witt's got to be on that list.
He's number 1. He's tied for number 1.
Yep. So Witt, who would come in behind him? Was he 14 years? Is that his contract?
Yes, sir.
So Witt, I'm pretty sure Bogarts is gonna be up there. He's like 11 years.
He is not on the list. He's
Oh,
just
man.
off.
Oh, okay. It's gonna be interesting. All right. So Witt, Machado wouldn't be on that list.
Nope.
Tatis.
Tatis is tied with Witt for first.
Okay. So I thought Tatis would be the next big one. All right. So not Bogarts, not Machado. Is Devers in there?
Nope. He got 10-year extension.
Oh, that's right. They added on to the contract he already had.
Yeah.
Lindor? No, Lindor didn't get that long contract. Neither did Seager.
No.
John, all time or current?
It's current. Probably should have put that in there. Current. That's all right.
Okay.
I'll get flack for that one.
All right, we got Witt and Tatis. I'm doing good so far. Oh yeah, because A-Rod's deal was 10 years. Yeah, it was. He signed the big deal years ago. Oh wow. A lot of the guys I thought it was going to be, it's not.
Think the next guy. Think AL East just played in the World Series, but did not sign with that team. Signed a big one and then got traded.
Oh. I have no idea.
Giancarlo Stanton.
Oh, Stanton. That's right. His deal was long.
Yeah. He signed it with the Marlins, then got traded to the Yankees.
That's right. Years and years and years ago.
Mm-hmm. Probably one of the best left-handed hitters in the game right now, arguably.
Other than Soto?
Other than Soto.
Not Devers, not Seager.
NL East.
NL East. Olsen?
No. Phillies.
Oh, Bryce?
Yeah, Bryce Harper. Seattle.
Julio?
Then 2 Dodgers, and then, an Angel.
So it's Yamamoto. Shohei.
No.
Not Shohei. It's not Betts or Freeman.
It's Betts.
How long was Betts' deal? Oh, sorry, he was 12 years, 365.
Yep. And then
That's right. I forgot he was 12.
And then the Angels.
Trout.
Yeah. Trout. So 14, 13, and 12.
Wow, some of those contracts are much longer than I remember them being.
Yeah.
I forgot about Stanton's because it was signed so long ago.
Right. Yeah, like his is almost up. But yeah.
I feel like I was damn near a kid when he signed.
Right. All right. 2024 MLB League Leader Trivia.
Oh boy.
Here we go. As of August of 2024, which is a clue, who was the active MLB leader for committing the most career errors?
Who's he active? Why is August a clue?
You'll see why.
Most career errors. Oh boy. It's got to be a shortstop, right?
It is a shortstop. So something happened in August of 2024 to this player that's why it's a clue.
Oh.
He was on the Giants and went to the Cardinals.
Oh, is that Crawford?
It is Crawford. So they released him in August.
Oh, that's right. They did let him go.
Yeah.
That's
So,
right.
yeah.
I forgot about that.
174 career errors.
Yeah, he was one of those guys who'd make a spectacular play, then boot a routine ground ball.
Yeah. Well, and he's played forever, it seems
He
like.
has. He's been around a while.
Yeah. All right. Which player led the MLB in errors in 2024?
Ellie De La Cruz.
Yes, sir.
So
29.
love him, but he's got some work to do.
Yep. Which player led the league in most outs made by a batter in 2024?
Oh. Because this isn't necessarily that you're bad, it's that you played a lot. Schwarber.
Nope. We did talk about this kid earlier in the podcast. About someone that you need to watch if you haven't.
Oh, is it Tovar?
It is Tovar. Yeah.
Interesting.
512 outs made.
That's a lot of outs. And they say baseball's a humbling game, and that's why.
Yeah. 512 times to put your head down and go back to the dugout.
Well, yeah, because you got to think about it. You need a guy who doesn't walk a lot. Who,
Right.
Yeah, so Schwarber by default doesn't get out that much because he walks so much.
Right. Which player led the league in most innings pitched in 2024?
Oh, okay.
Think about that staff out west that we all slated was.
I know. I'm trying to think who it would be. It wasn't Kirby. Gilbert?
It is Gilbert. Yep.
Okay.
Nice. 208.2.
That's a lot of innings.
It's a lot of innings now, but just think like
now.
It like never was. Like that was like, dude, you only threw 208 innings, like weak.
Yeah. There was a day where these guys would make like 35 starts and go 7 innings in every single one of them.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. Which player led the league in plate appearances in 2024?
Plate appearances. Matt Olson.
No, not Matt Olson. AL East. He played all 162.
That's why I picked Olson. It's like he played all 162. Played all 162 in the AL East.
Yes, sir.
It's a red, so is it the Red Sox?
Yes, sir.
Who played all 162? Did Duran play all 162?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Jarren Duran.
I was thinking about him. Like, I don't know that he played every, except for the 2 he was suspended for screaming at that fan.
I forgot to put the total in there, but it was like 700 and something. I'm pretty sure.
It's a lot of plate appearances.
Yeah.
But leadoff that helps.
Yeah, absolutely. Which 3 pitchers led the MLB with 2 complete games each?
Ooh. Blanco?
No.
Ooh, Valdez?
Nope. We got the Braves, the Phillies, and the Blue Jays.
So Sale.
No, not Sale.
Not Sale. Lopez?
Nope. It's another lefty.
Fried.
Mm-hmm.
Phillies, is that Nola?
Not Nola.
Wheeler?
Not Wheeler.
Suarez?
Not Suarez.
I'm running out of pitchers here, Nick.
It's the other It's the other left-handed pitcher for them that had a breakout year.
Oh my God. Oh boy.
This might be a poll for you.
Yep.
It's Sanchez, Christopher Sanchez.
Oh yeah. Yep. I was like, I can picture him, but I can't think of his name.
And then the Blue Jay.
Gosman?
Yep. Sanchez, Fried, and Gosman.
Interesting. Man, not at all the people you'd expect to have that stat.
Nope. Which MLB pitcher issued the most walks in 2024?
Oh boy. Was it the Mets pitching staff?
I didn't say in the playoffs.
Or was that just the playoffs?
Just the playoffs. This is a
Most
Yankee.
walks. Oh, okay, interesting. Is it Heel?
It is Heel.
Saying
Yep.
I knew he walked a lot, but 77's a lot.
Yeah, it is. All right. Which MLB pitcher led the league in saves in 2024?
It's not Class A, is it?
It is not Class A.
That's the part that I was so frustrated by because it wasn't. It's not him. It wasn't Duran.
NL Central.
Oh, NL Central. Wasn't Devin Williams.
Nope.
Who the hell led the league in saves?
Cardinals. This guy throws absolute cheddar.
Yeah. I'm not going to get his name though.
It's Ryan Helsley.
Hells, thank you. I can pitch. I can watch him in my head pitching.
Yeah, it just can't.
Astros. Is he coming from the Astros?
No, I think he's been with the Cardinals the whole time. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure.
I think you're right. I think I got confused.
Yeah. All right. Which MLB catcher surrendered the most passed balls in 2024?
Purple. Is this the Rockies?
It's not purple. It's supposed to be blue. I don't know.
It always comes through as purple.
I know. I got to change it.
Blue. Was it Kirk?
Nope.
Who's the guy the Red Sox traded for? Jansen?
Not Jansen. Look at the color of the lettering too.
I don't trust the colors now, Nick, because it looks like orange and purple.
It is orange. It's orange and blue.
Okay. Oh, is it Alvarez, the Mets?
Yeah, it is Alvarez 11.
That surprised me. He's really pretty sure-handed back there.
Yeah. Yep. 11 pass balls. All right. It's back, Harrison.
Oh no. These can be wild.
What do these players have in common? First one.
Oh, it's all Schmitz.
They're all Schmitz. Yes. Good. Yeah.
Mike Schmidt. You got Giant Schmidt, Clark Schmidt.
Yeah. Clark Schmidt, Jason Schmidt, and Mike Schmidt.
Thank you.
Yeah, you said Giant Schmidt.
The Giant Schmidt. I was like, I almost called him Mark. I'm like, nope. I used to love watching him pitch though.
Close enough. All right. Next one.
So is that Christian Walker in the top?
Nope.
Who's that?
Nathaniel Lowe.
Oh, it's hard. The pictures are hard to tell who they are when they're so little.
Nathaniel Lowe, Wilson Contreras.
Oh, they got brothers in the league.
Yeah.
I see Naylor. I see Contreras. I'm like, all right, I got this one.
And then Acuna is in the top right.
Oh, yeah.
Luis Angel.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll have current MLB brothers. Good. This one. Corbin Carroll, Jose Reyes, Lance Johnson, Jimmy Rollins, and Brett Butler.
What? What an odd combo. Something to do with steals as a rookie, or
not steals, but it does have to do with speed pretty much.
Total bases?
No. It's a type of hit you can get that requires speed.
Oh, bunt?
Not bunts.
These most infield hits?
Nope.
Triples?
Triples.
Say which.
And more specifically, they've led their league in triples in at least 2 straight years.
Oh, interesting.
Yep. Pretty crazy. All right. Next one. What do these players have in common? Pete Alonso. Yep. Pete Alonso, Aaron Judge, Mark McGwire, and Ralph Kiner.
Is it home runs in a certain number of years?
Sort of in a certain year.
Most home runs in a free agent year? A walk
No,
year? Contract year?
no, earlier.
Rookie?
Yeah, they
Okay.
led they led the league in home runs their rookie seasons.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Yeah,
That's a
good.
that's a good one. There's a
Yeah,
lot of ways to go with that one.
yeah. What do these players have in common? Nolan Arenado, Matt Chapman, Adrian Beltre, Yadier Molina.
They're all wicked good at catching the ball.
Yes, but how good?
Gold glovers, platinum
No.
glovers.
Yes. They're the only players to win multiple platinum gloves.
Oh,
So
the platinum
platinum,
glove started in 2011. I thought it was more recent than that. Okay.
yeah, no, 2011.
Because I was looking, yeah, I was like, did Yachty get a platinum glove?
Yeah, crazy, right?
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't know they started in 2011 either, but
I don't remember really
that's
talking
cool.
about him until maybe 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah, crazy.
The
So,
platinum
yep,
glove is crazy.
yep.
What
So
what is
that
the what? How do you qualify for the platinum glove? Like what is the difference? Is it just
I,
the best overall defender?
it's got to be right. I don't. They must take all the metrics and put it together and just.
Because like I've never actually seen them spell out the platinum glove. Like what is it?
They probably just put all the Gold Glove names winners in a hat and just pick one. I mean, it's probably what happens,
Yeah,
but
it's just the best defender in the league. There's not like a formula for it.
no. But
Okay.
yeah. All right. I got a couple other things here to wrap up the show. Heading home here. Potential for Roki Sasaki to be in the MLB in 2025. Now, the interesting thing about Roki Sasaki is if he comes over before the age of 25, you won't see a like a Yamamoto type deal, right? Because he's still considered in the international pool money. So you'll see more of a
Okay.
contract of like Shohei signing with the Angels. And then he would qualify for free agency, a certain amount of years after that. So first of all, his Japanese team has to let him go. Like he keeps telling them, like, "Hey, I want to go play in the MLB. Like I've done what I've done here. I want to go play." If you haven't seen this kid pitch, he came on the WBC stage and just absolutely blew everyone away with his stuff. He's 102, 103 with a devastating splitter, as all of those Japanese players have, is that devastating splitter. But this kid, if he comes over after he turns 25, is going to see some buco money.
Yeah.
But
It's
but
won't be
if
cheap.
he comes over before, his posting fee might be pretty ridiculous. If it even
Trillion dollars.
if it even qualifies, because like I said,
Oh yeah, right.
it plays in that international pool money versus the whatever. But I don't know. I mean, I want him over here because I want to see the best talent in the world in the MLB.
Absolutely.
I want him here.
Bring him.
Is it dumb for his team to let him go at this point? Yeah, probably. I mean, I don't know. Who's getting him, John? It's a great question. Probably the Dodgers at this point. That's where all the Japanese
It's
players
whoever
go.
can afford him. And yeah,
Yeah.
it seems like the Dodgers are picking up all the Japanese players.
I mean, and why wouldn't Sasaki want to go play with Otani and Yamamoto?
Yeah, go play with your buddies, the guys who just came out of the league.
Yeah. So it would be, Team Japan versus the other 29 teams in the league, plus 2 MVPs. So I mean,
Yeah.
why not? So yeah, I don't know, but it'll be interesting. So keep an eye on that to see if they, after the 2025 season, if they decide to post him or not, but or to let him go. I don't know exactly how that works if they post him before he's 25, because the money qualifies differently than if he was not 25. Because wasn't it like 6 or 7 years that you had to play professional Japanese baseball before you could be posted?
Yep.
But
Yes.
then if he's posted before, it's a different pool of money that the teams have to use to get him or something
Exactly.
like that.
If he's posted before, then it goes an international signing pool, and the posting fees are different because now he's an international free agent versus a posted player who's got his contract effectively sold.
Right.
It's the whole thing is it's a strange process.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, my guess is he's an LA Dodger. That's just my guess right now, but who knows? So they'll get Soto in the offseason. They'll get Sasaki next year, and they'll win for the next 12 years.
Yeah, they'll win the World Series for, the decade.
Yeah. So, all right. Do you have anything to add, Harrison?
I got two quick ones and a fun story.
Right.
So first one, Jacob Stallings just 47 minutes ago declined his option with the Rockies. He's now a free agent. And 20 minutes ago, Clayton Kershaw declined his option with the Dodgers to become a free agent.
Huh.
Yeah, Kershaw had a $10 million option that he has now declined, and he will become a free agent again.
He really wants those 29 strikeouts to get him to 3K.
Yeah, I don't get declining the option, but unless he thinks the Dodgers are going to re-sign him to a better deal than that,
I don't know.
I don't know. Or maybe the Dodgers have said, "Hey, there's no place for you here anymore. Go find another spot."
I mean, with 5 guys coming off the IL next year, hopefully,
You get 7.
Maybe there isn't.
With him, you had 7 or 8 potential starters. Like, I don't know what you're going to do with him.
But you're losing Bueller, and you're also going to lose Jack Flaherty to free agency,
assuming that neither of those guys signs. Yeah,
right, possibly.
Yep. So I guess to be determined. But yeah, so Kershaw is officially a free agent again.
All right.
And then, did you see this story about the teenager that the Padres signed?
Oh, yes.
So
I forgot to bring that up.
Yeah, so we have a teenager who assumed the name Cesar Altagracia. So he verbally agreed to sign with the Padres for $4 million on the premise that he was 14 years old, and the transaction became official in January 2027 once he was 16 and able to sign. Come to find out, he's actually 19 years old, and this is after he played in the U15 Pan American Championships last year under the impression he was only 14 years old. He is 19. The MLB has nothing to say. The Padres have nothing to say. The Dominican Baseball Federation is investigating the matter. But as we've seen in the past, a lot of these players, Dominicans, Cubans, they come over and you don't really know how old they are because they can kind of just make up their own paperwork and come over. But this is the first time they've caught it so early where this was a 19-year-old boy playing against 14-year-old kids looking like an absolute rock star. Come to find out, he is not the age they thought. It's only a verbal agreement so they can take it back. But this is a really bad situation for MLB, the Dominican Baseball Federation, the Padres, who are now trying to figure out what the hell we do next.
Yeah, because my immediate thought when I read that was, okay, how old is Ethan Salas?
Right. How many other players are in this boat?
You said he was, 16 when you signed him. He was in spring training last year at what, 17? So I'm like, okay, is he actually 17? Like, that was my first thought. And then my next thought was, we never knew how old Miguel Tejada was. We thought he was older than, he said he was. And it is a mess. But
there were questions about Pujols' age. I mean,
yeah.
there's these questions have lingered for a long time. This is the first really egregious example of it being true.
Yeah. Yeah, but I said that even if he is found that all this is true, he serves a 1-year suspension and then can be signed.
Yep.
At his actual age.
Yeah, because he's now 19 and you're able to sign internationally at 16.
Right.
So he's now effectively a international free agent, but very, very strange situation for the Padres.
Yeah. I remember reading that this week and I was like, man, oh man, that's wild.
Yep.
But man.
Yep. And then last one worth mentioning, Matt Arnold of the Brewers, the guy who traded Corbin Burns, the guy who lost Craig Counsell, the guy that hired Pat Murphy, the guy that took the Brewers to the playoffs yet again, was the executive of the year in baseball. He's the GM of the Brewers.
Yeah.
And hard to argue that he didn't earn that, given all the moves that were made and all the things that happened to get them to where they got to.
Yeah, I mean, you brought in the right manager after Council had been there for years. Seems like the players absolutely love Pat Murphy and everything he brings to the field. I mean, that's a huge move in itself. Like, you trade away a guy like Council, like, you know, say what you want about him, but he was such a staple there in Milwaukee for so long as a player and a manager that it had to have been the right move to bring in that manager. Because if you bring in the wrong manager, it's, you know, you don't lose in the first round of the playoffs again like you have for the last 20 years if you bring in the wrong manager. You don't
even make the playoffs.
Right.
So you look at that team. Woodruff out for the season. Burns traded. Wade Miley made a couple of starts where he was hurt. They had their whole starting rotation out at one point during the season. Devin Williams missed 4 months with his back injuries, or the fractures in his back. You had a new manager. You had almost an entirely new ball club. You lost Yelich in July, and this team still made the playoffs.
Yeah. Yeah. I eventually want to see the Brewers get over that first round hump. Like, at some point,
someday, man, right?
They have to. It's just the baseball, like, odds of it happening again are, you know, with them. Like, they shouldn't lose in the first round of the playoffs year after year after year after year. You would think the ball would bounce their way at least once.
It seems so improbable that you could have that streak go on this long and not be able to get out of it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then the fact that, like, this year you had it sewn up. Like, it looked like you were done until Pete Alonso took you deep.
Oh, it's a backbreaker right there too.
It's just brutal.
That's one of those hits that, like, sets your organization back a couple of years.
Oh, it's crushing. Absolutely crushing.
Yeah, you know, almost as crushing as Aaron Judge dropping a routine fly ball in center, but
to kick off that comedy of errors, but it is what it is.
Crazy. Man. All right. Do you have anything else?
That's it.
All right. Before we go, Harrison and I will be back on Thursday night for our free agent prediction show. We will take the top 30 or so free agents and we will guess on where they will end up signing. I won last year 6-5. I snuck it out at the end.
Freaking Kershaw killed me. I predicted him to retire.
And he should this year. But he might go on the list again this year, even though I don't think he's a top 30 free agent. But
no.
But we'll be back on next Thursday. We will be doing those predictions live. So you guys can all join us there. But as always, thanks for watching. Thanks for adding to the chat and the discussion. It's always welcome. We love the interactions. But please, before you go, make sure you like and follow us on Facebook. You can follow on Instagram. You can subscribe on YouTube. You can also listen on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. And we will see you on Thursday at 8:30 Eastern Standard Time.